Welcome back to another video. If you don't know me already, my name is Max. My brother and I started a car rental company about 5 years ago now. We have over 300 cars and we're running almost all Teslas, all rideshare. We started on Turo, switched it to direct rentals. Some people call it private rentals. And I want to talk about what it looks like to scale. A lot of people have this idea that I just need to buy more cars. Okay, I'll just go to a dealership. I'll go to a finance company. I just need to buy more cars. Buying more cars gets me to where I want to be, which is more cars, more profit. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. You can't just add cars on an already bad process, because all you're going to do is add fuel to the fire, especially if your process right now is no bueno. And so what's going to happen is if you're not profitable now and you don't know it and you keep adding cars, you're just going to be more and more unprofitable. So again, common misconception, let's just add more cars, it's gonna be perfect. But what most people don't realize is you need so many systems in place to make sure that what you're doing actually works. So let's talk about that real quick. What systems do you need? I don't need any systems. I just need to add more cars. I know I'm profitable. Well, are you? Maybe your profit loss statement on QuickBooks shows that you're profitable. How much are your cars depreciating? You have a 7-year loan on these cars. Are they gonna make it 7 years? How many miles are you putting on your cars? What's your cost per mile? So let's talk about the systems that are actually important to determine whether what you're doing is right or what you're doing is wrong. In the beginning of renting cars, the first like 2 or 3 years, I felt like we didn't scale very quickly. And the reason I'm gonna blame in this video, and it's true, I talked to my brother about this all the time back in the day, was, is this right? Like, are we actually making good money? Because back then we have cash cars, 3-4 grand to 10 grand. And we're like, dude, we're making good money, we're cash flowing, but we never really looked into like how much are these cars depreciating? What's our cost for maintenance coming up? What can we sell these things for? Is this something that we can scale, like our process that we have right now? Because it was just us doing it. We're doing all the check-ins, maintenance, like everything. I mean, we're doing some external maintenance, having other companies do it, but we were doing everything. And so a couple things you need to think about when you're looking at scaling. The first thing is buying and tracking your fleet. So how do you know if you're getting a good deal? How do you know you're buying the right car? A lot of times people just buy whatever's at the dealership, lowest interest rate. But honestly, interest rate is such a small factor of how to determine profitability of a car rental company. There's depreciation, there's maintenance costs, there's likability for people that want to rent cars. Like, do people actually want to rent this car? First car we ever bought was a 2000, I don't remember now. It's like a maybe 2020. I could be wrong. Somebody's going to probably correct me in the comments, but a 2020 Slingshot manual, no roof. We bought it in summer. It's 110 degrees outside in Phoenix, Arizona. We bought a car with no roof, no AC, manual transmission, which only a fraction of the US know how to drive, and less and less know how to drive it every year because the new generation's not learning it. We arguably bought one of the worst cars to rent out ever, but it made money. It made money. And back in the day, it was making $1,000 to $1,800 a month. And we're like, dude, we're killing it. We spent 20 grand on this car. We spent pretty much all the money that we had at the time. And little did we know, the car was depreciating so quickly. The oil changes were $250 and it needed them more often than I'd like to admit, but we didn't look into like, is this car actually making money at the end of the day, or will this car make money? We literally saw a YouTube video. This guy said, hey, you got to get on Turo. You got to buy this Slingshot. Promise it'll be the best decision in your life. Whoever that person is, thanks for getting me into the business. But that was the worst advice I've ever received in my life. And so since then, I started making videos about what not to do because that person led me astray. If you're watching this video and it's you, shame on you. Just kidding. It's fine. I don't really care anymore. But all jokes aside, we bought that car for like 20 grand. We sold it for 13. We only had it for like 6 months. And so we lost almost half of its value. Maybe it was a year, but half its value in a year, which is insane. No cars depreciate that quickly. We got it at a good price. So the price wasn't a problem. We had no interest rate, but if we had high interest rate or low interest rate, that would be the problem either is the fact that it depreciated so quickly. There wasn't enough demand renting it. And when I say it's $1,000 to $1,800 a month, that was in the high months. Low months, nobody wanted to book it. In the summer, again, think about it. Nobody wants to book a car like that. So when you're buying a car, super important when you're tracking it. And what I meant by tracking is all these metrics. How quickly is it depreciating? Do people actually want to book it? What is your cost per mile? I'm coming out with a new video soon. It's going to talk about like cost per mile, how we break it down. Super useful. These are all things you should be tracking. The second thing you need to be looking at is scalability. If you have 10 cars and you're managing it with your significant other, it's probably really easy. Back when we had 10, 15, 20 cars, it was super easy. I mean, we'd do a couple of reservations, we clean cars, we get them out, and that was it. I mean, it wasn't very difficult. But then when you think about getting 100 cars or 200 cars or 300 cars, you're like, this model of 10 cars, it probably doesn't work. Like, how am I sourcing my leads? How am I cleaning the cars and like doing the actual operation, cleaning, maintaining, tracking all that stuff, making sure it gets to the customer? And what you slowly realize is if I'm on Turo, I'm not going to get enough demand from Turo to like scale it. Like, am I making sure that I'm staying busy in the slow seasons? Probably not. On Turo, you're probably doing really short-term reservations. So you're just constantly cleaning cars. And if you're doing 3-day reservations, you're doing 1 to 2 reservations a week. Think about doing 100 cars, 300 reservations a week, or 600 reservations a week. Insane. Who's going to clean all those cars? Very hard to manage. That's something else you need to think about. The way that we pivoted was we switched to long-term, we switched to rideshare, and so each person keeps a car for 6 months. So we only have a car, 300 cars, we have 3 or 4 come back in a day, maybe 5. I think the most we've had come back in like a day is like 6, which is like, that's kind of a lot. Now there's downsides to it. There's harder customers, there's repossessions. I mean, there's things like that. But once you have the right systems put in place, it's much easier to manage. Now, the third thing you want to think about when scaling is financing. How do I actually get financing for these cars? A lot of people like this play where they go to a dealership, buy a car. Maybe they buy 2 cars. They go to another dealership within a 7-day period, because that's when they report it to the credit unions or the other banks or something like that. I think that's the time frame. I could be wrong. And they buy another car, and then they go to another dealership and repeat, and they buy like 10 cars or 15 cars a week. And that is insane. And my problem with it isn't the concept. The concept is fine. Like if you decide to go out and buy 20 cars in a week, that's not the problem. But the problem is the fact that people are trying to buy them so quick that they're not doing any research on the kind of cars that they're buying. And so they're getting bad loans, bad terms, wrong cars that they're buying, wrong prices. They're just not caring. They're saying, hey, kind of like in the beginning of the video I mentioned, it's not just about adding cars, it's about adding them the right way and scaling the right way. And so people just say, yeah, like, let me just buy as many cars as I can, because people are putting this concept out there of just add cars, just buy cars. This is how you buy cars the quickest. The more cars you have, the more profitable you are, which is completely wrong. All right, so the fourth and final thing I want to talk about is how you rent your car out. Now, a lot of people think there's one way to rent their car out. Turo. And a lot of people are going to preach like, oh, you should rent your car on Turo, you should rent your car on Turo. I believe in that too. I believe that for the first couple months of renting cars out, you should use Turo. True. But once you start doing direct rentals, like somebody books through your website, somebody comes to you to rent the car, you make significantly more money. We made that transition about a year ago, last April, not because we wanted to. We had started to at the time. We had like 30%, 20% of our rentals off of the platform, but we got kicked off of Turo. And so it kind of forced us to make the transition. Best thing ever. People always say, well, they always try to give me ideas like, can't you do this and get back on Turo or do that? And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, you don't want to get back on Turo? I'm like, no, I'm making 2 times the amount that I would have if I was on Turo. Why would I want to go back to that? Like, isn't the concept to make more money here, not less? And like the systems that they have aren't better than the systems that I have. It's easier for me to manage my fleet now than if I were there. It's like, why would I want that? A lot of people want to build their business and scale it. Some people don't. Some people have it as a side hustle, 2 or 3 cars. I'm going to run it. Side hustle, I have a main job. That's fine. That's completely fine. If you're doing something like that, stay on Turo, don't transition, because there's a lot of things you have to set up. But if you do decide to make the transition, that's probably the best decision anyone can make. Like for me, it was the best decision. Obviously, it wasn't really my decision, but it was the best thing that had happened to us ever. And when you're renting directly to customers, there's tons of ways you can do it. I mean, you can do rideshare rentals, which is what we do. Uber and Lyft drivers, long-term rentals. You can do like short-term travelers or local. You can do mechanic shop work, which is when cars in the mechanic shop. And I guess you can kind of fuse a lot of these together. And the best resource that we found for this is actually something that we help build. And it's something called iFleet. It's a software built for fleet operators to do direct rentals. And it literally has everything. If you want to make the transition, or if you're already doing direct rentals, we've used HQ, we've used Wheelbase, we've used everything. And problems were systems weren't good, or it's too expensive, didn't have what we needed, but we built it the way an operator would see it. And we built it the exact way that we would want it. It has booking, payment collection process, insurance verification. You can sell insurance through it. You can do background checks. You can text directly to the customer, email directly to them. So like full email system and communication system built out. Comm system has all of our tracking information built in. Website builder, marketing system. Like it literally has everything that we would need. Claims management, toll management. Like before we had this, we had 7 I think, or 8 different softwares we'd use. We had to go back and forth, all these different ones. Now it's one. Now instead of my team having to like figure out how to go between all these different softwares and figure out how to use them, and like the training's super complex, it's like, okay, one software, here's how you use it. Super simple. So whether you're running it yourself or other people are running it, like best solution ever. And honestly, the builders were able to give it away for like $99 a month, which is the cheapest on the market. So it's best solution, cheapest on the market. What could go wrong? 14-day free trial, I think it's set up right now. Honestly, just check it out. It's insane. This is something that we're going to use fully for our fleet, and I'd highly recommend it for yours. Like it's cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for watching the video. I hope this helped you a little bit. I hope you don't make a lot of the mistakes that tons of people talk about, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.